He comes up with the big reception off the tip ball. It's a good throw by Mutrin. He has an open man in the curl, hit him right in the pocket. Had to just be put away, and sure enough, Bobby Howard is on the spot, ready to make the play, and does once again.
Brandon Gilbo helped the play by tipping it up in the air. Joey Goodspeed takes over at fullback for Spencer. And Denson, a hard hit from Pedro Sereno, playing with a very sore shoulder. Sereno closed quickly and put a big stick on Denson.
Boy, when you're Boston College, you just got to come up, as you said, Sean, earlier, with big plays. The ball hit him right in the hands. That's got to be caught. Just took his eyes off it a little bit there at the end, and sure enough, there's a lot of speed on the ball, and it got away from him.
First turnover of this game by either team. Second down and 6. They could pick up a first down inside the 1. Denson trying to pick his hole, couldn't find any room. It's Brian May again, dropping Denson for a loss. Here's Mike.
Sean, before the game, I spoke with Mickey Marotti, the strength and conditioning coach from Notre Dame, said, who is the leaders in the weight room? He said on offense, it's Autry Denson, but overall, it's Bobby Howard. He said he's a 450-pound bench guy, squat 650, and I got the impression, as I'm sure you did when we talked to the coaches, that everybody really looks up to Bobby Howard, and he is the team leader.
No question about that. Bob Davie knew all the stats last year about what their record was when Howard was healthy and when he wasn't healthy. They were 1-4 without Howard, 6-2 with him last year. Jackson on third has a man wide open. Touchdown! Malcolm Johnson in the corner of the end zone. And Notre Dame leads again.
Malcolm Johnson is a big, tall receiver at 6'5". He's the one you like to throw the fade to. He gets off the coverage of Johnson, number 6, so easily, and it's just an easy touchdown reception for the Irish. You have to give Notre Dame offensive coaches some credit. They had a physical mismatch there on the corner and took advantage of it.
Jim Sanson adds the extra point. Well, Notre Dame owning the third quarter again today. They've outscored BC 10-0 in this quarter. And Tom O'Brien doesn't like the way this one's heading.
No, we don't have that.
When Tom Stemberg discovered he couldn't find a ribbon.
No, we don't have that.
For his home printer.
Printer?
He opened his own store, then another, and changed the way office products are sold. Being ever alert to customer needs, Staples has set company sales records every year it's been in business. Where do you learn about companies that are creating entire new industries? Exactly. NASDAQ Amex, the market of markets.
Johnson, I'd like to see some ideas on saving the company money. I'll be back first thing in the morning.
Think.
That's the dumbest!
Drink.
Help!
Well, Johnson, Staples, that'll save us a lot of money. You are a genius.
Staples has guaranteed low prices, like 15 pens for 88 cents. Staples, yeah, we've got that.
As you may have read on the internet, in a national tasting of regular and ice beers, brewmasters and beer experts named Old Milwaukee the best tasting beer in America. Now check this out. Old Milwaukee Light has won the gold medal for best tasting light beer, beating every other major light beer for taste. Judge for yourself. Old Milwaukee and Old Milwaukee Light, America's best tasting beers.
Catch martial arts superstar Sammo Hung in the #1 new drama.
You failed your driver's test.
You have beautiful eyes.
Are you trying to butter me up?
Martial Law, CBS tonight.
Sean McDonough, Terry Donahue, Mike Mayock. That sold-out Alumni Stadium in Chestnut Hill, Massachusetts. Notre Dame twice led by 7 points in the first half, trailed by 3 at halftime. The Irish have outscored the Eagles by 10-0 here in the third quarter. And now BC is going to have to come from behind again. Hunter Smith kicks off to Carlton Rowe and Cedric Washington. And a good kick. And Washington will down it. Coach, Malcolm Johnson was wide open in the end zone. The only question was he in bounds? And this was a very, very close call.
It is a close call, and that's why they say football's a game of inches. The idea is his foot in bounds or is it on the line?
Well, from there, it looks like his heel might have been on the line.
From there,
look at the official, too. Did you see that? He started to wave it off, say incomplete, and then he changed and threw his arms up in the air.
The only thing I would say, Sean, is the official couldn't be in better position.
No.
He's absolutely in the right
spot. You wonder why his first instinct was to wave it off when he does have great position. Mike Cloud up the middle on first down. Like they say on the SATs, stick with your first instinct. He clearly was about to give it the safe sign and then changed his mind and threw his hands in the air. Those are the updated numbers. Now 68-3 in the third quarter for Notre Dame. They were a dreadful third quarter team last year. Scored 27 points in the third quarter all of last season. That's a major change this year.
Yeah, you have to give Bob Davie and the coaching staff credit. They saw a problem and corrected it.
Newton throws, and the completion is there. And a great effort after the catch. Made by Derek Crittenden. A gain of 22. Just the third catch of the year for the junior from Annandale, Virginia.
Well, Mike Mayock told us that Mutrin was going to throw a skinny post today before the game was over. There it was, right there. That's the skinny post, and he put the ball right on target.
Crittenden was more of a factor last year when he had 17 catches. He's a little deeper down the depth chart this year. Pressed into service today with the injury to Jermaine Walker. Mutrin down the numbers and complete to Anthony DeCosmo. And this is more like the Boston College offense we saw in the first half. Deke Cooper and Tony Driver trying to cover DeCosmo, but he's already to the Notre Dame 31. That's 22, followed by a 26-yard gain.
Nice little head fake by DeCosmo to get open inside. He gets down the inside of the Notre Dame defense. Mutrin throws the ball well. DeCosmo, that's a dangerous area to catch a ball and concentrate. That's outstanding concentration by him. It's hard to do that when those DBs are floating around back there ready to tear your head off.
Three wide receivers. It's DeWalt in motion. Play action fake blitz. Mutrin's down. Sacked by Corey Minor. The second sack for Notre Dame today.
Boston College has run a lot of bootleg passes today against Notre Dame. The pressure's going to come from the outside. Corey Minor, number 4. He's the guy that comes unblocked. The quarterback's got to handle that. The only way that can be handled, quarterback's got to get his eyes around quicker, and when he sees it, pull up and try to get rid of the ball. Just couldn't get it done. Good play by Corey Minor.
The senior from Laverne, California, and said he probably would have gone to UCLA, but he knew Terry Donahue was going to retire.
No, how did he know that? I didn't know that.
I think he's just being nice to your coach.
He was.
Mutrin throws in a traffic, but it's caught by DeCosmo. They get some of the sack yardage back, actually all of it back, plus some to the 27-yard line. And now they're going to rule that no catch, it appears. DeCosmo beefing at the officials. They ruled that an incomplete pass. It was Ty Good in coverage for Notre Dame.
Kind of hard to tell, Sean. I thought from up here it was a completion. Maybe he juggled the ball. I just didn't see it come out. I really didn't.
Nor did I. Now it's third down and long. 3rd and 16 with under 2 minutes left in the third quarter. Mutrin throws short for Tardio. He's trying to drag Tony Driver with him and did for a while, but he's well short of the first down. 4th and 10 upcoming. Here's Tim Brando.
Fellas, you've seen a lot of Javon Kearse so far this year. How about on special teams? Vanderbilt trying to punt. Javon Kearse blocks it. It's picked out of the air by Mike Peterson. He takes it in 27 yards for the return. Gators need to keep rolling, of course. They're up 14-3 over Vanderbilt. They had won 2 consecutive coming in.
Well, struggled with Vandy's outstanding defense in recent years. Well, Matic missed earlier from 50. This is going to be 49.5. He connected from 43. Officially a 50-yard try. He had the distance that time, but it's wide right. And John Matic is 1 for 3 this afternoon.
But those have been a couple long kicks, Sean.
Two 50-yard tries.
Yeah, when you're going that distance, well, those are long kicks. That puts an awful lot of pressure on the kicker. That was a good defensive hold again by the Notre Dame defense. They've come out here in the third quarter on fire, really playing well, and they've got control right now of this BC offense, certainly much better than they did in the first half.
High formation for the Irish. They're mixing it up offensively in the first half. Here in the second half, a steady diet of running plays. Denson can't shake the defense. He was gang tackled by Carlos Moore and Frank Chamberlain. Among others, today's NASDAQ Amex Scholar Athlete of the Game is Boston College punter Jason Malecki. NASDAQ Amex's commitment to the investment in our future is shown today by the donation of $1,000 to BC's General Scholarship Fund. And he's a 3.2 grade point student in finance and marketing. Over the last 10 years, Boston College has graduated 87% of its football players, one of the best in the nation year in and year out. 3 times in the last 12. They've had the best graduation rate in the country.
They need to be proud of that.
Jackson over the middle. Caught by the tight end. Dan O'Leary powers his way to a first down. Adam Grace put the pop on O'Leary. The junior from Westlake, Ohio, gained 12. He's out of St. Ignatius High School, one of the best high school football programs in the country, and he was a high school teammate of the BC quarterback Scott Mutrin. There are 3 St. Ignatius players on the Boston College team. Mutrin, Chris Hovan, and Nick Blevins, a backup linebacker. BC was dominated by Notre Dame in that third quarter. At the end of 3, the Fighting Irish 24 and the Eagles 17. We'll return to Alumni Stadium after this message and a word from your local station.
Web TV makes setting my VCR so easy, even I can do it.
You are correct.
I can record my favorite shows with the touch of a button.
Oh, yes, wise one.
Hey, Ed, you want to record a show?
Yes.
Hey, look, it's Nova.
Nova.
Frontline.
Frontline.
Hey, Ed, bikini workout's coming on at 9. I'll record that for later. Done.
Hi-oh.
Web TV service, the internet, television, and more.
Here's the 90s way to trim a beard. The 1890s. Today, there's the new Norelco Beard and Mustache Trimmer. With 9 adjustable settings, Norelco gives you the look you want. Norelco, put it to the test.
Need brakes? Come to Midas for a break on brakes. Now just $69.95 after rebate. You'll get our standard brake service and our lifetime guarantee. Midas's $69.95 brakes. It's worth stopping for.
Monday, what a show on Dave. Don't miss Meryl Streep's first Late Show appearance, singer George Michael, and teen sensations Hanson. Monday on The Late Show.
The address is CBS. Welcome home.
French, German.
You're the genius behind the new Speak in a Week foreign language CDs. But can you say global distribution? You know linguistics, not logistics. Entree UPS. The same people you rely on here clear customs electronically and deliver to over 200 countries worldwide. Soon orders are rolling in and everyone's speaking your language.
Bonjour. My city, your boy.
UPS, moving at the speed of business.
Experts say it's important to eat a good breakfast. I say it's important to eat a delicious breakfast, even if it isn't until lunch or dinner time. Take IHOP's mouth-watering country breakfast. Tender ham served with 2 eggs, hash browns, and 2 country griddle cakes. Only $3.99. Only from IHOP. And you can eat it morning, noon, or night. Whether you're an expert or just a real hungry amateur, anytime's a good time for breakfast at IHOP.
Dodge Ram was the first and is still the only full-size pickup to be ranked most appealing by J.D. Power & Associates. It was the first to offer a 10-cylinder engine, and it was the first quad cab. And now, for the first time, we're offering $1,000 back on the truck that changed the rules. But hurry, this is one first that won't last. $1,000 cash back on 98 Rams ends November 9th.
Why eyeglass stores could leave you seeing red. Special assignment tonight.
The fourth quarter is about to begin, and they're well aware of that on the Notre Dame sideline. Number 13 team in the nation, the Fighting Irish, leading Boston College by 7 with 15 minutes remaining in regulation time. And Notre Dame has it first and 10 at its own 44-yard line. Play action pass by Jackson, and he throws to the far sideline, incomplete, intended for Malcolm Johnson. Well, if you're Tom O'Brien, your team's hanging in there right now, but he had to be very dissatisfied with the way that third quarter went.
No question. I think you have to give Notre Dame credit. They came out with better intensity, more quickness. They seemed to psychologically realize, hey, we're in the game, guys. We better start playing better. And sure enough, particularly their defensive team picked it up, and their offensive team started pounding away at Boston College and began to dominate the line of scrimmage.
Now in 2nd and 10, the delay, and the ball is on the ground. They tried to hand it off to Joey Goodspeed, the fullback. He fumbled, and Boston College has recovered. First Notre Dame turnover. Willie Wright recovered the fumble after the missed exchange.
Notre Dame is just trying to run a lead draw out of the split back formation. Jarius Jackson puts it a little bit low on Joey Goodspeed's belt, and consequently he didn't have his hands around the ball and it came loose. Boston College gets a huge turnover with great field position right here.
There's 10 turnovers for Notre Dame this year. They're one of the best in the nation in turnover margin, as you saw on the graphic. Mike Cloud, gaping hole. First down, Boston College at the 29-yard line.
Boston College is known for offensive linemen. They're over 300 pounds apiece, and they're coming off here man on man. Just blew Notre Dame's defensive team out that time. Gave Mike Cloud plenty of running room.
Denson already over 100 yards rushing today. And Mike Cloud is up to 91 yards on 17 carries. He's been over 100 in every game but one this year. That was last week against Miami when the Hurricanes held him to 75. And Mike said his goal at the start of the year was to rush for 2,000 yards. Tom O'Brien said, I nearly choked when I heard that. But he's had a terrific year. He's on pace to rush for more than 1,600 yards in his senior season. Those are his numbers coming into today. Season started on a great note with 200 yards rushing in the upset win against Georgia Tech. Also on his way to the BC single season rushing record set by Chucky Dukes. A pass on target, and Harding was holding hands with the Notre Dame defender at the 18-yard line, but it is good for a first down. Benny Gilbo and Brock Williams just wouldn't let Harding out of the grasp, and BC is on the move, and the crowd trying to help them now get that tying touchdown.
Boston College once again going after Brock Williams for the Irish. They feel they have a good matchup over there. That was a nice check by Scott Mutrin, the quarterback. He checked that off. They had a running play called. He saw a defense he liked, wanted to take advantage of it. He did, got the ball outside on a quick little pass.
The benefit of having a veteran quarterback who's very intelligent as Mutrin is. He's already graduated from Boston College, did that last May, and now he's working toward an MBA. Mutrin actually rolled into trouble and wisely threw it away. Mutrin has a background in communications here at BC, now working toward the MBA. He said he'd like to do what we do someday or get into politics. And he's been working in the office of Rhode Island Congressman Patrick Kennedy, helping in event planning the last couple of years. Scott's also a huge Cleveland Indians fan. Worked in the broadcast booth of the Indians telecast a couple of summers ago as an intern with their terrific announcers, Jack Corrigan and Mike Hegan. On 2nd and 10, a flag thrown. Cloud broke a tackle, goes down to the 14-yard line, but that was a quick flag thrown at the feet of one of the offensive linemen right in the middle of the line.
I don't think there's any question they're going to call holding against Doug Brzezinski, the right guard. I mean the left guard for Boston College. Anytime you take a guy down, the umpire just sees it so quickly. Watch Brzezinski. He's blocking on the nose guard. Lance Legree.
Holding on the offense. 10-yard penalty. Still second down.
Just took him down, and the umpire's just standing right there watching it. You got to be careful when you're playing inside like that with those takedowns.
So some key mistakes here in the second half by Boston College. The big turnover that set up the go-ahead touchdown. And BC's been penalized 3 times here in the second half. Second down and 20. Eagles at the Irish 28-yard line. Cloud through a hole on a quick hitter. And he's back to the 18, but they'll still need 10 on third down to move the chains. Benny Gilbo shoved him out of bounds.
You know, this is a nice call by Tom O'Brien and his staff. They're trying to get some down and distance possibilities back in their game plan, so they run this ball, pick up 8 yards. Now they're in 3rd and 10, certainly more convertible than 3rd and 18.
We mentioned they wanted to stay out of the 3rd and long situations, and as the day has progressed, they've been in more and more of them. Average to go on 3rd down for BC today, 10.5 yards. Mutrin out of the shotgun, 3 wide receivers. Notre Dame showing blitz. The Irish come on the blitz. Cloud, a great job of the blitz pickup, but the pass goes through the hands of Anthony DeCosmo. He got up looking for a flag against Brock Williams. And here comes Matic to try a field goal again.
Bobby Howard came on the blitz for Notre Dame. Number 27, he's the guy. He loves to come after the quarterback, and he does. He gets up in there. He's picked up nicely. BC does a good job with their pass protection. But this ball really is just, it's well through. It's just a little bit high, and DeCosmo thought it should be interference.
I'd have to agree with him. The defender had his right arm right around his hip. 35-yard try. Matic's field goal is good. You saw Scott Mutrin barking at the official in the secondary. I was looking at the official. He indicated to Mutrin, giving the signal the pass was deflected. Therefore, the contact was allowed, but that pass was not deflected.
Waterburn, Australia, a true story. A man was prospecting behind his trailer home when he discovered a 61-pound nugget of solid gold worth $1 million. When it comes to retirement, you can depend on luck, or you can depend on us, Sun America. We specialize in retirement investments. Ask about our personal retirement portfolios, and don't leave your future to chance. Sun America, the retirement specialist.
I see trees of green, red roses too. I see them bloom for me and you. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world.
Fortunately, there's Nasonex nasal spray, an effective nasal allergy prescription medicine taken once a day that relieves sneezing, itchy runny nose, and congestion, indoors and out. Now that's wonderful. Nasonex, what good days are like, every day. The most common side effects were headache, viral infection, sore throat, nosebleeds, and coughing.
Enterprise rent-a-car for my trip? Looks expensive.
It's not expensive, Mom.
They pick us up? Sounds expensive.
Pickup's free, Mom.
Well, if it's not expensive, why didn't I get a convertible?
Pick Enterprise. We'll pick you up.
NASDAQ Amex College Football on CBS is sponsored by Sun America, Nasonex, Xerox, and by Old Milwaukee.
The fall colors a little bit past their peak here in Chestnut Hill, Massachusetts, where BC's trying to pull off an upset this afternoon against the 13th ranked team in the nation. Matic's field goal made it a 4-point game. His kickoff bounces down to the goal line. Tanny Driver then along the sideline, and he got chipped out of bounds shy of the 20 by Joe Mickens. A wild football game today. They had a wild hockey game here last night between these two schools. With more on that, here's Mike.
Thanks, Sean. It's really a great continuation of a rivalry here between these two great Catholic institutions. Last night, the #1 ranked Boston College Eagles hosted the #8 Fighting Irish of Notre Dame. Going into the third period, Boston College trailed by 3 goals. staged a furious rally, tied the game 5-5. And Sean, let's face it, if this football team down 4 going into the last period could take a big piece out of their picture, right?
That's right. Chris Masters scored the first 2 goals during that BC hockey comeback, and Eddie Powers scored the game tire. Fighting Irish hockey program much improved under Dave Pullen, the former NHL standout. And there's a sack, the second of the day for Boston College, as Jackson's down in the arms of Chris Hovan.
Chris Hovan was working against John Morandi, 64, the Notre Dame center. He started to go to his left, and then he'll come back on a little reverse move, throws Morandi out of the way, and comes back on that inside crease there for the sack. Really a nice move by the nose guard, Hovan.
Another of those players out of St. Ignatius High School in Cleveland. Chuck Kyle's team, while Hovan was there in and around that time, 5 straight Ohio State titles. Hovan was also an all-state player in lacrosse. 2nd and 17. Crowd roaring now. Denson in trouble. And it's Hovan again back at the 5-yard line.
Sean, Brian May came on a blitz, which really helped number 46, the linebacker. That helps Hovan come behind and make the play. Brian May, 46, he's going to be blitzing. Then all of a sudden, Hovan comes behind it and makes the play when the tailback Denson tries to cut back.
And you see in the background there, George White on the ground, grabbing at his right knee. He's a starting safety for BC and a key member of their secondary. He's had a bad ankle, injured it 2 games ago against Navy. Tried to play last week against Miami, but he had to come out very early in that game. We watched him at practice on Thursday, and he really wasn't moving very well, but the adrenaline flow apparently has helped him get through the game today.
Yeah, no question. He has a flat tire. He's playing on one wheel. It's hard. Well, now we're getting a little action here in the stadium finally, Sean.
Fans surprisingly quiet through most of the day into it now. 3rd down and 22. That's the noisy student section end. The only back is Jamie Spencer. 3 wide receivers. BC showing blitz. Jackson steps up, retreats, has all day, throws deep, man wide open. Malcolm Johnson at the 27-yard line.
Malcolm Johnson is lined up at the top of the screen. It appears that Boston College is going to have a deep safety, but watch this guy right here. Watch Phelps, Pat Phelps, number 10.
Where did he go?
He comes out of the coverage when the quarterback starts to scramble, and consequently, he leaves Malcolm wide open.
Huge 68-yard gain when it looked like BC was about to force a punt. And get great field position. Now Notre Dame looking for what could be a back-breaking touchdown.
This is the isolation of Malcolm Johnson running down the sideline. Now you'll see all of a sudden the quarterback is scrambling. That's what drew number 10, the defensive back, up there. But you can never let any wide receiver get deeper than you are in your area. Basic fundamental breakdown by Boston College. Really a very, very bad play by their secondary.
And here's Denson again. Squirting through the middle. Pedro Serino upended him. Short of a first down. You'd have to think big difference here, Coach, between a touchdown and a field goal. If BC could hold them to a field goal, they were within 7.
Particularly, yeah, just emotionally, psychologically, everything. When you have that great defensive intensity you had down at the other end, and all of a sudden you lose all that with that big play that Notre Dame just pulled off. Now BC's got to suck it up and try to really get them stopped, like you say, for a field goal.
2nd and 2. The fullback Spencer inside the 5. Powers down to the 1-yard line. Carlos Moore and Jonathan Ordway, 2 members of the secondary, combined on the stop. Malcolm Johnson with the big play of this football game, set up by the brilliant scrambling of Jarius Jackson. And the offensive line play. Malcolm Johnson's had a career-high 150 yards receiving today on 6 catches. And now Notre Dame on the verge of what would be a huge touchdown. Denson, touchdown. How quickly it can turn.
Oh, can it turn fast? Notre Dame jumped into a full house backfield here, came out of the huddle very quickly, had 3 backs in the backfield so they could get a lot of lead blockers into the hole, which allowed Denson just to get into that end zone. Here it is. You get that little crease when you're a tailback, and all you got to do is get that ball across the plane of the end zone, and he does. Huge.
And Sanson the extra point.
Huge swing of momentum with that unbelievable play by Notre Dame.
And the Irish enjoy their largest lead.
You want the proposal tomorrow? No problem.
Ah, the self-employed.
Happy, free, masters of their own destiny.
They'll get it done with the right help. Where's Jason?
He's gone out on his own.
He can't do that. He hasn't finished his training.
He just likes to hang out with entrepreneurs.
We can't let them think we're too small. Let's go.
You've got the knowledge, you've got the internet. Just show them what you know, and you can compete with the big boys.
We know that.
Put your charts in color. It'll focus the conversation.
All our charts are in color.
Now that looks professional.
It has to. This document represents us.
Wait.
Jason, they're doing fine.
But they have no support staff.
Son, they have Xerox digital copiers and printers, software and service. Let's go home.
I really did think that Xerox only worked with big businesses.
That boy's got a lot to learn.
Keep the conversation going. Share the knowledge. The Digital Document Company, Xerox.
We spend an amazing amount of time selecting our fund managers and our analysts.
Everybody here loves the stock market, loves trying to figure out companies and understand their business better.
We have very bright people. We have people that work amazingly hard.
To me, this is my dream job. Picking the right stock is a great feeling because you know it has a direct impact on so many shareholders.
We pick our people just as carefully as we select our stocks.
Visit our website or call your advisor.
On the NFL Today.
A look at how the pro game has been treating 2 high-profile rookie quarterbacks.
It's been a struggle, but, you know, I went through that before.
The hard part is that you have to sometimes screw it up in the games in order to learn.
Plus Flutie Mania on the NFL Today.
Sean McDonough with Terry Donahue and Mike Mayock at Alumni Stadium. Pat Feltz, the cornerback who struggled in that zone coverage, was being consoled on the bench. He's one of those players, in all fairness, Terry, who probably wouldn't be playing had they not had so many injuries in the secondary, depletions to the roster for other reasons. He's a junior who's been a deep backup for most of his career, but out of necessity has to play, doing the best he can. Isn't quite as experienced as other guys on this team. Carlton Rawl. He's had a good day running back kickoffs. He's out to the 32-yard line. 22-yard return. Here's Tim.
Sean and Terry, Madre Hill was a sophomore in 1995 when Arkansas last played in the SEC championship game. He's running like that now after that torn ACL. They've added another score, and the Razorbacks lead Ole Miss 21-0. You'll see him against Tennessee next week.
And what will be a battle of 2 unbeatens, it seems. Scott Mutner with a lot of work to do now. 9:11 left. Boston College down by 11. Mutrin not down yet. He escapes and throws behind his intended receiver, Derek Crittenden. Here's Mike Mayock.
Sean, when I was a defensive back here at Boston College, we had a coach named Dave Brazil, and when we played zone coverage, he said, look, deeper than the deepest, wider than the widest, when in doubt, look about, and if you get beat deep, just keep going because you ain't playing anymore.
In fairness to him, though, a big part of the play that should not be forgotten was the incredible time Jarius Jackson had. And we can show you that Mike Mayock learned those lessons when he was at Boston College. And there's Mike from the press guide in the late 70s. Mike, a standout player here at BC, went on to the National Football League. Blitz again. Good line play this time by Boston College. Mutrin has a man wide open deep. DeCosmo had to go to his knees to catch it. Had that ball hit him without him having to make that play, he scores a touchdown. Apparently, Mike needs to repeat that lesson he learned from his coach, and there's a flag down against Boston College. Mike needs to repeat that lesson he learned from his coach for the Notre Dame defenders as well.
It happens to anybody that plays defensive back. Sooner or later, you're going to have a day where somebody gets behind you or you get beat. You just hate to have it happen where you just have a total mental breakdown. Sometimes you get beat physically. That happens to every athlete. You just don't want to give up the mental play.
I think Mutrin might have been over the line there, Coach, when he threw that ball.
That was the call on his scramble. BC does a great job, as you pointed out, Sean. The offensive line really gives him some good protection. He works the pocket well. He gets outside. Notre Dame has
illegal forward pass. The quarterback was over the line when he passed the ball. 5-yard penalty, lost the down, 3rd down.
Everything going against him. The line of scrimmage was the 32. Wow. Can't argue with where the official was.
Now the official's right on the line of scrimmage. He sees it clearly. Notre Dame, though, no question about it, they had their own breakdown in the secondary. They've got a guy wide open behind their defensive backs as well.
Well, according to where they marked the ball, they must have thought he was up to the 35-yard line. When clear that he wasn't on that replay, he was at the 32. Now Mutrin's running, and he has the first down, slides down at the 45-yard line. Well, the officials have been having a pretty good day, it seemed, in the first half. Here in the second half, there have been a number of things that you could question on both sides, and there was no way that ball was thrown from the 35-yard line. We saw that. He might have been over the line slightly, but they didn't assess enough of a penalty. BC trying to go quickly. And so quickly that Notre Dame has asked for a timeout. 8:11 remaining. The Fighting Irish looking for their 6th straight win, lead by 11.
As you may have read on the internet, in a national tasting of regular and ice beers, brewmasters and beer experts named Old Milwaukee the best tasting beer in America. Now check this out. Old Milwaukee Light has won the gold medal for best tasting light beer, beating every other major light beer for taste. Judge for yourself. Old Milwaukee and Old Milwaukee Light, America's best tasting beers.
The Honda ATVs. The desert can't beat them. The jungle can't beat them. Mountains, rocks, water, even a fall from 1,000 feet can't beat them. And if you thought these Hondas were tough to beat before, now they come with no down payment and 9.8% APR financing, but only until December 31st. Tough to beat deals from your Honda dealer. Honda ATVs, best on earth.
He was inspired by the romance and ritual, the way people came together over dark roasted coffee. Today, one man's tribute to the Italian coffee bar has created one of the fastest growing companies in America. And with thousands of employee shareholders, Starbucks is bringing neighborhoods together around the world. Where do you learn about companies with the drive to invigorate entire industries? Exactly. NASDAQ Amex, the market of markets.
Ted Danson's a doctor with attitude in the best new comedy of the year.
I'm here to save your life, you big meatball.
And all new Becker on CBS Outtake Monday.
Unique feature of this stadium, the Alumni Stadium, it's attached, as you can see on the left of your screen, to the hockey rink and basketball facility. There are actually skyboxes that look into both the football stadium and the arena where they played that hockey game last night. Sean McDonough, Mike Mayock, Terry Donahue. Today's game produced by Craig Silver, directed by Bob Fishman.
Come on.
Mutrin on 1st and 10. Blitz well picked up. Mutrin throws incomplete. Looking for the tight end Rob Tardio. Benny Gilbo had the coverage. This is the first half of our NASDAQ Amex college football doubleheader. Coming up next, Alabama against LSU, and I know a lot of people around the country are shocked by what's happened at LSU this year.
No question. Of all the teams in the Southeastern Conference, maybe the most disappointing this year is LSU. We really thought they might be in the championship game, the way people talked in the preseason and all.
Derek Crittenden in motion. Cloud on 2nd and 10. Great cutback. And he goes into Notre Dame territory at the 48-yard line. Bobby Howard made the tackle, and the clock rolls under 8 minutes remaining. 4-down territory here, Coach.
Close, very, very close. I think that Boston College being down by 9 in this kind of a situation, I mean being down by 11 in this kind of a situation, I think they'll probably go for it on 4th down. Tom O'Brien went, you know, he doesn't mind, I think, going for it, rolling the dice. He's playing as an underdog.
3 wide receivers. Cloud the lone back. Mutrin short drop, has the first down. DeCosmo breaks free. And a tough run after the catch by Anthony DeCosmo. A gain of 11. He's also a track athlete here at Boston College. He finished 6th in the Big East Conference in the triple jump last October.
Mutron just took a real short drop, just a little 3-step drop, got the ball to him quick. DeCosmo does a nice job. You always evaluate receivers on the run after the catch. He does a good job picking up positive yardage after the reception.
5 catches for DeCosmo today to add to those numbers you see. Now has 98 career receptions. And did he get the playoff? No, never got the snap. And did he get a timeout?
He wanted a timeout. He signaled it. I'm not sure they're going to give it to him.
Might be better off if they don't get it, Coach. The timeouts could be more important than these 5 yards right here. The flag was thrown. Now the officials are deciding whether the timeout call was before the flag.
What happened is Notre Dame.
Timeout has been charged to Boston College. It was requested in time.
And what happened was Notre Dame dropped the safety down in an 8-man front. Mutrin wanted to check to a pass, just called the timeout just in the nick of time.
People smile and tell me I'm the lucky one, and we've just begun. Think I'm gonna have a son. And in the morning when I rise, you bring a tear of joy to my eyes and tell me everything's gonna be alright.
Aflac, insuring over 40 million people worldwide.
At Staples, we're constantly lowering prices to make them as competitive as possible. So you always get the guaranteed low prices on over 7,000 items. And who wouldn't love that?
And that's the last one. Good news, Willis. We're lowering prices again. Lock up when you're done. All right! That kid was a find.
For guaranteed low prices on over 7,000 supplies and free delivery, it's Staples. Yeah, we've got that.
I'm Paula Zahn, CBS News in New York with an update on John Glenn's return from space. Nearly 2 hours after touchdown at the Kennedy Space Center, Glenn and the 6 other members of the Shuttle Discovery crew have just taken a walk outside the orbiter. At age 77, John Glenn took his first steps on Earth after 9 weightless days in space. He and the other members of the crew did their traditional inspection of the shuttle. Glenn's role in the mission, though, is far from over. He faces many months of post-flight medical tests.
And the crew now is...
That's it for now. I'm Paula Zahn, CBS News in New York. Good day.
Thank you, Paula. Back here in Boston, Notre Dame has an 11-point lead with just under 7 minutes remaining. And BC will have it 1st and 10 after the timeout. Were you the coach? Would you rather have the 5-yard penalty and save the timeout, or are you glad they got the timeout call?
You know, I'd rather have the yardage saved. I would have used the timeout too. Hard to get that 5 yards back.
3 wide receivers. Again, the play clock down to the end before Mutrin took the snap. Going down to see him. DeCosmo again. At the 10-yard line. But Johnny Sanders had the coverage. 28 yards, and the Eagles are back in the red zone.
Anthony DeCosmo runs straight down the field, then breaks outside, then comes underneath Sanders, and the ball is thrown perfectly by Mutrin. And give Jeff Jagodzinski, the offensive line coach at Boston College, some credit. The line is doing a marvelous job with the protection of Scott Mutrin today.
And you did a great job pronouncing Coach Jagodzinski's name.
You know, I interviewed Jeff once too.
Mike Cloud lunges down near the 5-yard line. Lamont Bryant made the tackle with help from Ty Good. Mike Cloud wears that number 21 in honor of his brother Kevin, who was a highly recruited linebacker at Portsmouth High School in Rhode Island when he suffered a very serious neck injury and had to stop playing football for a while. Mike's parents weren't certain they were going to allow Mike to continue his football career. But he did. His mother still doesn't like to come to the football games. Kevin, we're happy to report, is fine now. And amateur bodybuilder to the end zone. Touchdown to Cosmo.
This is a great call by Scott Mutrin. Tom O'Brien wants to go for 2 here. Mutrin checked this play. They had a running play called. He checked off to the quick pass to Cosmo. He just ran a little out route. He knows he wants to go for 2 right away. Had to get his team back on the field. Notre Dame with a late substitution here as well.
Justin Smith came running on late. They're trying to get the 2 to get within a field goal. With 5:54 remaining, BC asked for the ball on the left hash mark. 3 wide receiver set. BC 1 for 1 on 2-point tries this year. Mutrin, short drop, and it is intercepted. This could be run back the other way. Ty Good. And Mutrin hustled all the way back to the 34-yard line. That was almost 2 the other way for Notre Dame.
How quick it can change in football. Sean, it's unbelievable. Mutrin's trying to throw a little in route, and he just gets it picked off by Ty Good. It was really good play by Ty Good. He sat right in the slant area and just picked off that ball. But it was a great effort by Mutrin to make sure that there wasn't a 2-point score there by Notre Dame.
And Brian and Jeff Jagodzinski watching. Great hustle by Mutrin. And it's still a 5-point game with 5:51 remaining. Ty Good, the senior from Lincoln, Nebraska, back up through most of his career behind terrific defensive backs like Allen Rossum and Ivory Covington. Came to Notre Dame as a highly touted wide receiver, made the transition to defensive back. Was already graduated, did that last May with a degree in marketing, and is now taking business classes at the graduate level.
You know, Sean, going back to that interception, think about this place. If they had converted that 2-point conversion there, and this place would be rocking, and those players over at BC would be going crazy. That big play by Ty Good. What a defensive play by him.
Tony Driver returns the John Manich kickoff. Poor tackling by BC. Driver finally collared by Jonathan Ordway at the 46-yard line. A 40-yard return by Tony Driver.
John, you mentioned earlier today that next spring Tony Driver may move back to tailback after playing defensive back this year at Notre Dame. This is the reason. This guy is good with the football. He's got it protected. He's squeezing the ball. He's finding some running lanes, and he gets that ball in great field position for Notre Dame.
Scott Bradley injured on that play. He's being tended to. Tony Driver apparently wasn't all that thrilled about the move to defense. The coaches told him he'd have more playing time there. He certainly was the hero in the win over Purdue. He had 2 late interceptions that capped the 31-30 victory against the Boilermakers. First interception set up Jim Sanson's winning field goal, and that preserved the win. Tony Driver, he thought he played poorly when they got demolished by Michigan State earlier this year, and he actually went home to Louisville for about 24 hours before deciding to return to Notre Dame and continue on.
Roy, they were happy to have him back, and I like guys that'll play other positions when they have their heart set, maybe on being a tailback or whatever. And then this guy's willing to go play defense for the betterment of his football team, and he's playing good defensively.
Remember last year when he was on offense, we talked to Jim Coletto, driver very highly touted coming out of high school, and Jim Coletto said, and he's everything we thought he was going to be. So it's interesting that last year at this time they were thrilled with him on offense. This year on defense, but perhaps back to offense next year. Jackson, draw play. Denson tackled at midfield by Brian May. What a performance by May in his last BC Notre Dame game. In his 6th year in the football program, a string of injuries over the years had BC appealing for an extra year from the NCAA, and May was granted that. He played in 11 games back in 1994, then played a total of 11 the next 3 years combined due to injury. Missed all of last year with a neck injury that required surgery. Now it's Hovan, a fumble! Jackson and right on the ball. It looked like Jarius Jackson got it back, and he did at the 42-yard line.
Well, Chris Hovan comes around the center. Morandi on a little swim move, and he gets great penetration. You can watch him, 95. He just comes there with a real quick move. His left hand just strips that ball right out of Autry Denson's hands, and Jarius Jackson makes a great play here for the ball. Watch this quarterback, number 7. That ball's on the ground. Well, watch the quarterback go after it and lay it on the line and get it. That's a great play by Jackson now.
Denson, who almost never fumbles, has been fumble prone the last 2 weeks. 3rd down and 14. The whole game, it seems, has been big 3rd down conversions by Notre Dame. A blitz that does not get there. Jackson all day to throw. He threw it short. Well, that's just a poor throw because Jackson had plenty of time and a man open, Malcolm Johnson, but the ball was short. And the Eagles will get it back down by 5 with 4:11 remaining.
Well, as you said, the Notre Dame offensive line did a great job giving Jackson nothing but time. Malcolm Johnson finds a seam in there, but the ball is clearly underthrown. Nice attempt by Malcolm Johnson to get his hands underneath that ball. He placed those hands under that ball and tried to scoop it up.
Dedrick DeWalt waiting to return the punt. You'd know he'd like to atone for that drop ball. It was a deflection. Resulted in the interception that set up the Notre Dame touchdown. No chance to return it as the punt rolls dead at the 22. A 36-yard punt. And the plot thickens with 4 minutes remaining. BC down by 5, eyeing an upset. And tomorrow, will we see upsets in the National Football League at 1 Eastern time? The games Indianapolis and Miami, Oakland and Baltimore, Cincinnati and Jacksonville. And then most of you will see the game between Buffalo and the New York Jets at 4:15. San Diego and Denver, Kansas City and Seattle, the other offerings of the NFL on CBS. And it all begins at noon Eastern time with the NFL Today brought to you by Southwest Airlines. First down, Boston College at the 23. Mike Cloud, the lone back, 3 wide receivers. This formation's worked well for the Eagles today. Cloud ran into his own man and bounced off the backside of Michael Cook to go to the 26-yard line. The only losses that Notre Dame has suffered in football against the Big East in the 90s, to BC at 93. Out at Notre Dame on David Gordon's dramatic last-second field goal. And then the following year when the Irish came in here ranked number 11 and BC was unranked under Dan Henning, BC won 30-11. That pass is caught for a first down.
Great protection once again by the BC offensive line. Neutron has plenty of time to get the ball released and find his target.
And Anthony DeCosmo is having a career day. 8 catches now, 140 yards. Both numbers are single game best for DeCosmo. He's got 2 touchdown passes. Coaches were saying yesterday he's been inconsistent this year. Not today. He's been consistently great. Cloud trying to turn the corner. Mike Cloud thrown down along the Notre Dame sideline by Brock Williams. And that's out of bounds at the 42, about 4 yards short of a first down. What a day this has been for Anthony DeCosmo, the senior from Fair Lawn, New Jersey. Early in the game, the touchdown reception with Brock Williams all over him. And this was another good catch in traffic. That's the pattern that he seemed to have had a lot of success today.
Down the middle against the Notre Dame zone defense.
This was his second touchdown. We saw 3 among his 8. Derek Crittenden, the motion man. On second and short, blitz. Mutrin dumps it off. Tardio very close to a first down. Bobby Howard, the tackler. Under 3 minutes remaining. And Mutrin wants a measurement. He also didn't like the spot. Looks from here that they need to get right to the yard line, the 46, and from here they're a little bit short, maybe. It's going to be very close. If I was guessing, Coach, and we don't guess well, as we both know, I think he's short.
This is a good opportunity, though, for BC. They don't have to use a timeout. Mutrin can get over there on the sideline, talk to the coaches, get the next call.
They're a couple of inches short.
Mutrin's worked the pocket very, very well. Tardio just didn't really have a chance to stretch the ball out for the yard marker on the reception.
Here's the CBS Sportsline stat of the game. BC has outgained Notre Dame today. We knew they could play offense. The question was, could their defense hold up against the number 13 team in the nation? For complete college football coverage, go to cbs.sportsline.com. 3rd and inches. Boston College 6 out of 13 on 3rd downs today.
Notre Dame may come with the blitz from this area right there, Sean. Troy Minor.
Mutrin has the first down. Anthony Weaver made the tackle. And they'll stop the clock to move the chains with 2:46 and 2 timeouts remaining for BC.
You've got plenty of time. If you're Tom O'Brien and you've got the ball, you've got nothing but time. You've got, as you mentioned, your 2 timeouts. You've got 2:46 on the clock. That's a lifetime in football.
Matter of fact, ultimately, you'd like to score with as little time remaining as possible with the problems they have in the secondary. In the best case scenario, Tom O'Brien would like to score of any kind, whenever, however. Mutrin, blitzed by Bobby Howard, throws it away, and that's a grounding call, no question about it. Bobby Howard came on a blitz, and the flag went flying. Mutrin's arguing the case, but there seemed little doubt this was intentional grounding.
Boston College has picked up the blitz very well today. This is the exception, though. Bobby Howard clearly unblocked there, putting the pressure on Scott Mutrin. Good call by the official. No question about it. No receiver remotely in the area. He just dumped it off to avoid the sack.
Illegal forward pass. It's intentional grounding. 5-yard penalty. Loss of down. 2nd down.
And a mile. And Tom O'Brien is a textbook example of the picture telling the story. 2nd and 26. Back at their own 30-yard line. Just a 4-man rush this time. Mutrin down to seam. Great catch. Dennis Harding very close to a first down. Bobby Howard made the tackle. Harding's to the Notre Dame 45, about 1.5 yards short of a first down. They needed 26. They got 24.5.
Well, Boston College has put receivers, a variety of receivers, down the middle of the Notre Dame defense today. This is a tremendous adjustment on the ball by Harding. The ball's thrown behind him, but athletically he just goes up and picks it out of the air.
1:54 remaining. The clock is running. A big 3rd down. Mike Cloud bounces outside to the left, heading to the sideline. Down to the first down at the 30-yard line. Tackled by Tony Driver.
And Anthony DeCosmo, number 11, makes a great block that helps bring him on Ty Good. Ty Good may be hurt, number 24. He was really limping. Look at the cutback lane. That offensive line gets that surge, so the cutback lane is there, and you could see the block there by DeCosmo.
He's had a great day for Boston College. 15 yards and a first down for Cloud. Over 100 again today with 139. 1:28 the clock running remaining. 2 timeouts for BC. That missed 2-point play looms large, perhaps. Mutrin down the seam. Rob Tardio inside the 5-yard line. Coach, if you're Notre Dame, should you be calling timeout here? Now BC has plenty of time to go 4 yards. Notre Dame may need time.
As soon as they start trying to run that ball, you're going to start using your timeouts. Watch the tight end. He's the guy coming right down the seam. Tardio, again, they attack the inside of that Notre Dame defense deep. They've done it with a variety of ways and a variety of receivers, but that's been the Achilles heel for the Notre Dame defense right now.
Johnny Sanders injured on the play. The pass play to Tardio goes to the 4-yard line. Scott Mutrin, when we chatted with him yesterday, used words we heard from several of his teammates during our visits this week. I've had a roller coaster ride for a career. It's been an up and down 4 or 5 years here. We heard those words over and over again yesterday. And these longtime BC players were saying a lot of those downs will be distant memories if we could pull up this one big victory against Notre Dame in our last home game as seniors.
And John, you knew it. You're familiar with the Boston College program so well, and you said it time and time again. Hey, they're going to lay it on the line against Notre Dame. Notre Dame's in a dogfight. You mentioned Notre Dame's got 2 timeouts. You've got 1 minute and 19 seconds on the clock. You don't use your timeouts right away if you're Notre Dame, but you need to be thinking about it. You don't want to get the ball back with 25 seconds left.
BC has plenty of time to go 4 yards. It's Notre Dame that might need time to get into range for a field goal. Timeout called.
Good financial decisions require expertise.